Thanks so much for spending time with us on this, the 14th day of December, just 10 days before Christmas Eve. It's coming on us like a freight train. Great Tuesday evening to you and to everyone watching from home. And I wish our first story was great news.
This is
but it's not.
Rattling, quite honestly.
If you're a believer in karma, you might start to think about now, maybe this just isn't supposed to happen. The Browns today placing 8 players on the COVID list, meaning they could be out for Saturday's game. They will likely be out for Saturday's game against the Los Angeles Raiders.
And the
Las
Browns?
Vegas Raiders, I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay.
I don't want to put them in a different city.
Well, they've been in a few.
That's hard to keep track of
Los
everybody.
I mean, they could be back to L.A. I don't know. It's only Tuesday.
Right?
Yeah,
But
that's
we
right.
got to get them figured out first. And the Browns are also now in the NFL's enhanced COVID protocols. Here to explain all of it, the voice of the Browns, Jimmy Donovan.
Well, this is the worst news you could get at any time of the season, but specifically at this time of the season with the Browns in a must-win situation again. And a shortened week. Remember, not a Sunday game. It's a Saturday game. The Browns got rocked today. A number of players, Jay gave you the number, go into COVID protocols. They came up with positive tests, and it is very, very, very unlikely that any of these players will be available coming up on Saturday afternoon when they play against the Raiders. Here we go. Wide receiver Jarvis Landry, just like last year at the end of the year when he had it happen just before the Jets game, he is on the list. So the Browns lose him. He caught his first touchdown pass of the season last Sunday in the win over Baltimore. And we continue. Browns tight end Austin Hooper also goes on the list into protocols. Hooper caught a touchdown pass last week and remaining at the start of the game. Remember, at the start of the game last week, he was really their only tight end that they had available for that game because Harrison Bryant was injured and David Njoku was in COVID-19 protocols. Now to the big problem, the Browns offensive line. Recognizes the best offensive line in the NFL when healthy, but it's not. Jed Wills, the Browns left tackle, he goes into COVID protocols. That is a huge problem for the Browns, and we're not done. The best guard in the NFL this year is the Browns right guard, Wyatt Teller. Just a couple of weeks ago, he signed that long-term deal with the Browns, a very rich deal. He goes into COVID-19 protocols, too. And the guy that really had his best game as a Brown last Sunday, Takk McKinley over on the defensive side. He forced a fumble in the win over the Ravens. He was in the Ravens' backfield all afternoon long, and for the first time, you could see the magic of Clowney, Garrett, and McKinley on the field at the same time. He'll likely be out, too. He goes into COVID-19 protocols. JoJo Netson, their kick returner, also goes into COVID-19
play on
protocols.
Sunday.
Unbelievable play, you're right, when he stepped out of bounds on the kick, forcing the ball out to the 40. All right, here we go. The rules are, if they are vaccinated, these players, all they would need would be 2 consecutive days of negative COVID tests, and they would be eligible. But the problem is time right now, and really, there's only been one player in the NFL who has been able to squeeze under the wire when they've tested positive early in a week. So the Browns right now are going to have to dip into their practice squad and perhaps go to other teams' practice squads to try and find offensive linemen for the game this Saturday, and a game that they must win once again. And if they were in good shape, health-wise, they would win the ball game. But it's very much a question. I'm going to give you the offensive line that I would project right now. The left tackle would become Blake Hance. Joel Bitonio would be the left guard. Treader would be the center. The right guard would be Michael Dunn. He would come off the bench and play right guard. And the rookie, James Hudson, would play at right tackle. Not the offensive line that the Browns would put out there and say, we've got the best offensive line in the NFL.
Wow. Boy, it's one step forward, 2 steps back with this team. I'm always looking for a silver lining. And all I can find here, Jimmy, is it's the Raiders and not the Packers.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks, they have to go to Green Bay.
Right.
So, I mean, possibly they can scratch out a win against the Raiders and hopefully be back to full strength by the time they go to Green Bay on Christmas Day.
Well, that's all they need to do. They need to just scratch the game out and get a win. They'll lean on the running game once again. Now, on the brighter side, remember they had a number of players out last week on COVID-19 protocol. They might get some of those players back for this weekend. And an injured player, too. Harrison Bryant, who's had the high ankle sprain, he's going to practice tomorrow. They're hoping that they'll get Greg Newsome back. He's in concussion protocol. But they would love to get David Njoku back. He was on COVID-19 protocol. And he has been out there saying, I've had no symptoms at all. So he's beyond a week. And I think that maybe news tomorrow might be that they could get him back. That would help a great deal.
Yeah, it would. It's always something with this club. Just a terrible break, terrible timing. First of all, let's hope the players are okay and they're not suffering any symptoms, and then we'll move on.
And remember now, we have to hope that none of the other players test.
I didn't want to say it, but
waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
They're all together.
Tuesday.
They're all together.
Yeah.
All right, Jimmy,
Spend
we'll
a lot
talk
of
to you
time
again
in
in a
that
couple
huddle.
minutes.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Jim.
Now on your feet at 5. Believe it or not, exactly 1 year ago today, a nurse named Sandra Lindsay in New York received the very first COVID-19 vaccine in the U.S. outside of a clinical trial.
Yeah, and for a lot of us thought, well, there we go. It's going to be over. But I looked today at our positivity rate. It's the third highest that we've had since the pandemic began by quite a wide margin. So, what's happened in the last year? Isabel Lawrence took a look at that, spending some time on that today. She spoke with a doctor about where we stand right now. Isabel, good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening. I mean, so much has happened in the last year. If we take a look back here, we've seen the emergency use authorization of Moderna and Johnson & Johnson after that initial Pfizer vaccine. We've seen vaccines expand to teens and children, and we've even seen a pill to treat COVID. And we've also seen the spread of variants. I spoke with a doctor today at the Cleveland Clinic who said when she got her first shot in December of 2020, she did not think we would be where we are today. Today, the Cleveland Clinic says there are about 800 patients hospitalized with COVID in their Ohio health systems. About 200 of those are in the ICU. About 80% are unvaccinated. The doctor is still urging people to get vaccinated. She says they're currently seeing some of the highest volumes of COVID patients since the pandemic started.
When you get the vaccination, you prevent hospitalization, you prevent ICU admission, you free the bed for another loved one of yours that needs that hospital bed for something else.
Dr. Goji also said she understands people have COVID fatigue at this point, but it's important not to give up and to take necessary precautions to get back that sense of normalcy we've all been missing.
Well, we know that our healthcare workers on the front lines, they have been through so much already in this past year plus. Did they say if there was something else that really surprised them in all of this?
Yeah, great question. I actually asked Dr. Goji, and she said the number one thing that surprised her the most over the past year was misinformation. So she said she was surprised just how much misinformation was out there that prevented people from actually going and getting the vaccine. So she said she, of course, is going to continue answering those questions, debunking these false narratives and myths about the vaccine, and of course, reminding people the vaccine is safe and they will help protect you and your loved ones too.
It seems like, we thought we'd been through the worst of this, but when you look at all of our numbers, our hospitalizations are almost at their high since the pandemic began. I mentioned the positivity rate. We're not out of the woods. We're not even close.
Right.
And, the vaccines are a huge part of it, especially the boosters. We're seeing a lot of people that were, what we said then, fully vaxxed, getting the virus. That booster is important. If you haven't had it, think about it.
Right. Absolutely.
Isabel, thanks.
Thank you.
Well, an interesting story for you now. There's a decades-old mystery that is one step closer to being solved. The body of a man found nearly 40 years ago has been identified as part of Cleveland music royalty. A member of the popular band, the OJs, has his identity back, and now the search is on for his killer.
Little more than a skull in the snow and a vertebrae and some teeth in a garbage bag were found behind a Twinsburg business back in February of 1982. Stored in the medical examiner's office for 39 years, we now know those remains belong to Frankie Little Jr.
The skull just sitting in the snow. They actually brought it in. A few other employees took a look at it, and that's when they realized, this is a human skull that we have here. Once the police were there, they were able to find those, there were some additional garbage bags that were about 50 feet or so away from where the skull was found.
In the 1960s, Frankie played guitar and wrote songs for Cleveland R&B band The OJs, who gave us 70s-era Billboard-topping hits like Backstabbers, Love Train, and I Love Music. IDing Little took years, the painstaking result of gumshoe detective work and research from National Genealogical Center DNA Doe Project.
Able to get DNA from his teeth and a femur. The brother, who was the next of kin that so far we have, did say he has a son in the Cleveland area that unfortunately at this point we haven't been able to locate.
Little, born in 1943, was raised in Cleveland, served in the Army for 2 years with a deployment to Vietnam. He went on to join the OJs sometime in the 60s, but died before the group reached success in the early 70s.
We reached out to Walter Williams, and he was able to confirm that he was a guitarist and songwriter for the band.
But Little's musical contributions live on. The question now is, what happened to Frankie Little Jr.? Who killed him? And will we ever know all these decades later?
He was last known, I believe he resided in the area of like East 105th and Superior.
Just an incredible story, and January will have more on it coming up at 6, including how you can help solve this baffling mystery. You know, you hear those songs and you realize those were really big songs, really important songs in, you know, music history.
Yeah.
You see as people dancing on Soul Train. I mean, it's kind of a voice of a generation.
This is a bizarre story, and I wouldn't be surprised if we hear Keith Morrison's voice on a Dateline episode.
Oh, Lord.
Taking us through this. Because it's got all the fascinating elements of one of their mystery stories.
Yeah.
How in the world did this happen? It's just, there's so many unanswered questions. Keith, Dateline, come on to Cleveland. We need some answers.
Well,
on
and
this.
now we have a name to go with the remains. And now the big question is who done it? And what an incredible investigation has already taken place to get to this point.
It really is great
Now
work.
they really start hammering down and tracking. It's just incredible.
If you watch Dateline on a regular basis, and I never miss, you know that this DNA genealogy is leading to the answer to all kinds of mysteries, and it obviously helped in identifying the remains of this body, and the mystery continues. Wow, what a story. Well, in economic news, make no mistake about it, the cost of everyday items still going up. According to the Labor Department, prices at the wholesale level surged, Betsy, get this, 9.6% in November from just 1 year earlier. It's a record, this number, 9.6%, and it is also an indication of ongoing inflationary pressures. The department said its producer price index, which measures inflation before it reaches you and I, increased by 8% in November compared to October. That's the highest monthly reading since June. Food prices, which actually fell just a little bit in October, they were down 1.2%. They jumped again 1.2% in the month of November. Energy prices up 2.6% in 1 month after a 5% jump in October.
Not the news we want to hear.
No,
certainly.
not at all.
Well, I think we have a little bit more positive news to talk about on the other side of the break, because coming up on What's New, a Northeast Ohio New Year's tradition is coming back after taking last year off, and its return will be bigger than ever. We have the details straight ahead.
And we have big news for fans of the Harry Potter series. Kiara has that and other top headlines from the world of entertainment when What's New comes right back.
And of course, we got to get a check on that forecast, Matt.
Yeah, you know, most years I use the excuse that, you know, the weather was so bad, I'm sorry I didn't get you a good gift. And this year it's like, well, you can go out every single day and go shopping because there's no weather problem. So not sure what your excuse is this year, but another beautiful day across Northeast Ohio. Temperatures tonight falling back from the 50s into the 40s. Clouds are thickening up, harbinger of things to come. We've got a storm system moving in. We'll detail that hour by hour with your forecasts coming up.
Hard to believe, but the new year is fast approaching. And this year, the annual Chagrin Falls New Year's Eve Popcorn Ball is back. That's right. Workers at the Chagrin Falls Popcorn Shop are already getting the huge popcorn ready to drop. This is video from past events, but this year's Popcorn Ball will once again be the biggest one yet and is expected to weigh in at 250 pounds. They're calling it Jupiter, and it's going to be on display tomorrow through December 30th before the big popcorn ball drop on New Year's Eve. That's always such an awesome family event.
It's really cool. It is. It's like our own little Times Square here in Northeast Ohio. Bets, I don't think it's any accident they waited until after last week's high winds to put that up.
I think that's probably very good. We've also not heard of the walleye situation yet out, which is Sandusky, yes?
Yes, it is.
The walleye drop, which is always super fun.
I hope they wait, too, to put that up. You don't want any accidents. So when you think about New Year's Eve traditions, this was a fun one because it's returning, but I had a hard time today because normally I think when I pick the weather word, I try to have it relatable to the story ahead of us. Matt's going to hate me today.
So you mean early bedtime would be the one that is relatable because that's what we're all doing for New Year's Eve, isn't it? As early as possible?
Probably not. Probably not. Matt, I apologize in advance, but I started thinking about popcorn ball.
Right.
What can I come up with? And your weather word today is kernels.
That's not bad.
I went back to popcorn kernels.
Not bad, Betsy.
That's not bad at all.
I don't know how he's going to fit that in, though, to a weather forecast.
When's the last time you said kernels in a weather forecast?
Satellite popping up like little popcorn kernels.
Say not following you. I get it now. That's good. It's also
you're
not the middle of
helping
June.
I am going to help him. That was a
We
weird
don't have
one.
convective thunderstorms in the middle of June right now. But hey, we'll fit that in, Jay, for sure.
Okay.
There's some coming into the Plain States.
There are. Thanks, Betsy. Yes.
I got your back.
I'm on the same page as you now. Okay. Can't wait to get this one in. All right. Temperature-wise outside, another mild day. We continue this mild stretch to start the week. I hope you're enjoying it. I mean, let's not take this for granted, folks, right? It feels like we're on borrowed time, but looking at the long range, we're not quite yet. All right, we're near 50 degrees right now. Wind continues to be on the breezy side, but it's not too bad either. Out of the east now. Remember, wind always flows towards an area of low pressure, so something's amiss off towards our west, right? When we have that southeast wind, it will continue to be light tonight. We have increased those clouds after some sunshine earlier today. Notice how as we go hour by hour, we will be clouding up. Temperatures as a result of the cloud cover. Remember, it's like an insulating blanket, so it'll keep us milder tonight, probably only falling into the low 40s for most spots. Here come the clouds off towards the west, not a lot of rain yet, but you can see over towards Illinois, we've got some showers, kind of like popcorn kernels popping up in areas of, yes, that's what you were thinking. I knew it. And those will continue to move in. Again, that's our showery activity that we'll get in tomorrow. Just some scattered showers, not a washout by any means. Here's our monster system out west, continuing to hit the Sierra Nevadas down towards Southern California. Heavy rain. Have some flooding issues down there as you'd expect. Jet stream takes a huge dive out west. Remember, if I push down on the jet stream out west, it's got to come up out towards the east. That's why we're in the warmth, and we're not alone. It's the entire eastern half of the country. This system, as it comes on out, is going to be a wind maker. We've got high wind warnings across a ton of real estate. Look at this out west. Lots of issues in the mountains as well. And the Rockies expecting lots of snow. You throw wind on that, it's just a mess. In terms of snowfall, look at how the Rockies are going to get blanketed all the way up towards the Cascades, areas of heading up into British Columbia, dealing with some heavier snow. That's where the snow is. Where is it not? Out east. And we're going to continue that pattern over the upcoming week. All right, wind forecast. I mentioned this is a wind maker. Watch how this low comes together. Look at the wind gusts. These are over 50 at times in the plains. But it's going to miss us. We're going to get breezy out of this, but we're not dealing with real high winds. Your National Zymart hour-by-hour forecast. Seattle will be breezy tomorrow, a couple showers around, but overall not dealing with a washout. We'll get a little bit more rain around here on Thursday. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast, 61 on Thursday out ahead of that storm system. We turn to another rainy system that may end with a little bit of snow Saturday, Sunday, but overall not too December-y. Betsy, staying mild.
All right, thanks so much, Matt. Coming up straight ahead for us here on What's New, Mariah Carey is teaming up with McDonald's to give away free food ahead of Christmas. Kiera will be in to tell us all about that in Pop Break.
Plus, our Worth the Watch answers the question, what happens when a real-life bear meets up with an inflatable reindeer?
I'm gonna eat you.
This video is epic. It's our Worth the Watch. It's coming up. don't have a storm like this in December.
Hey, Matt, we're talking Harry Potter and Potterheads worldwide.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But it's just how offset it was.
All right, there it is. It's Kira Cotton's theme song. It's our pop break music, and that means Kira's here with all the Hollywood headlines.
Potterhead's super stoked that it is the 20th anniversary of the franchise.
That's right, guys. Even the Harry Potter franchise is working in overdrive, but even with the 20th anniversary, Potterheads have even more to celebrate. Prepare to meet the team assembled to take down the most dangerous wizard. The official trailer for the third Fantastic Beasts movie has arrived. The teaser gives us a look at Mads Mikkelsen as Gellert Grindelwald, the villain role that was originally played by Johnny Depp. In the trailer, we see a young Dumbledore played by Jude Law fending off the powerful dark wizard who seeks domination over the wizarding world. Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore is slated to hit theaters April 15th, 2022. And Issa Rae is saying goodbye to her hit HBO series Insecure. In a trailer released yesterday, the show's creator and star is closing the chapter with a documentary. The trailer opens with a tearful Issa as she addresses the cast and crew that introduced us to the millennial Black life experience all the way back in 2016. It also takes us behind the scenes of the show, and we hear from the team in personal interviews. And let me just tell you, grab your tissues, this one is gonna be a doozy. Insecure: The End will air on HBO Max December 26th, the same day as the series finale. And the unofficial queen of Christmas.
2 all-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on the sesame seed bun. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
And the unofficial queen of Christmas is giving away free food this holiday season. Mariah Carey has teamed up with McDonald's for Mariah's Menu, featuring 12 days of presents inside the McDonald's app. Any customer using the app and spending more than $1 can take advantage of the free deals. The promotion runs from now until Christmas Eve. And last but certainly not least, NBC's singing competition, The Voice, will crown its season 21 winner tonight. It's down to the final 5, and the competition is tough. The fun kicks off right here on 3 at 9 o'clock, guys.
So that Mariah Carey spot reminds me, and our older viewers will remember this, in the 70s, McDonald's ran a promotion that if you could say the ingredients of a Big Mac in under 5 seconds, you got a free Big Mac and an iron-on for a t-shirt.
I don't remember that.
No, of course. You were like 2, but I was like 12. And so here you go. 12-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
Dude,
I got a lot of free Big Macs.
Winner.
I got a lot of free Big Macs with that. Yeah. But you know what? It was a brilliant stroke of marketing because in that era, everybody knew exactly what was in a Big Mac. And there's a lot in there.
There is.
It's a mouthful. 12-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
I'm so impressed.
Me too.
All right.
Marketing.
Thanks, Kira.
Key, thanks. Okay, today's Worth the Watch is a good one. Comes from California. That's where a woman posted this video on Facebook. It shows a bear coming up to one of those huge inflatable reindeer. You've seen them. And the bear is just going to town on this thing. And I think the thing that really impressed me the most is the bear instinctively knows to go for the kill zone. He's going for the throat of an inflatable reindeer. And Mom is in the background, Betsy. See her back there?
Uh-huh.
She's just getting a good chuckle out of all this.
Right.
Because Mom already knows by now it's fake. But she's letting her baby cub have some fun in the process. No word on whether or not the inflatable sustained any major injuries. I'm guessing it did.
Look at that.
But it's a
crazy.
great watch.
It is hysterical. And I'm sure Mom is back there like, sweetie, if the reindeer's eyes are glowing, you probably don't want to eat it.
I love it, though, man. That thing's persistent, if nothing else.
So cute.
And I
turned
guess
into quite the game.
Yeah, reindeer games. Mm-hmm. See what I did there?
Well done. I see where you went.
See where I went.
Go ahead, Rudolph. All right, coming up on the next half hour of What's New, voice of the Browns, Jimmy Donovan, is going to be back on set talking all about the Browns players who are now on COVID protocol. We're going to include some of those key starter information, too.
Then we're saving you money on your Tech Tuesday. One tech guru breaks down which streaming services are the best based on your needs. It's a fascinating report, Bets. It's got a lot in there, and we'll break it down in just a little bit.
We're also going to be talking about the concert scene, which is very much alive. Which group will be coming to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse this spring? We'll have all that when What's New comes back.
Two, three, four, five.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
We begin this half hour with three things you need to know at 5:30. First, the Humane Society of Summit County now has custody of more than 50 animals they rescued from a condemned home. This happened back in October. Humane agents were called to a home after reports of abuse there. When they arrived, they found 50 dogs, cats, and birds living in filthy conditions with little access to food and water. It took crews 12 hours over 2 days to rescue all of the animals. The person living in the home was charged with cruelty to animals and has been banned from having any more animals in the future.
The devastating tornadoes that hit 6 states over the weekend have now claimed 88 lives. But the governor of Kentucky believes that number will rise as the National Guard continues to sift through the rubble. Volunteers from all over, including Ohio, were out searching today for victims. And we're hearing of young heroes like Gage Evans, who led his brothers, who are 6 months old and 3 years old, to a storm cellar to keep them safe. Listen.
Nothing was stopping me. I said, I'm going to get them. Nothing's going to stop me.
Bless his heart. Meanwhile, the First Christian Church in downtown Mayfield is one of 4 churches in that town that took a direct hit. Luckily, they say they've been able to salvage some sacred items from the rubble.
And today, crews broke ground on a fire station in Cleveland. Station 26 will be on Kinsman Avenue. Fire and EMS will consolidate the existing Station 26 and Station 41 to move into the new location. Today, Mayor Frank Jackson said the new station will allow for better service to the community. The 16,500 square foot facility sits on 1.8 acres of land, and construction on the new firehouse will start this summer. And with that, we welcome you back to What's New. The second half hour is jam-packed. We've got a lot to tell you. With Betsy Kling, I'm Jay Crawford. Busy day.
Correction to make first and foremost. Port Clinton is where the walleye drop happens.
Yeah.
Not Sandusky. I would figure the Sandusky native would step up and correct me right away, but no, I'm out here flailing like a flounder on the deck.
Like a fish.
Like a walleye on the ground.
Well, when you said that, I immediately thought, I'm pretty sure it's Port Clinton, not Sandusky, but I didn't want to correct you and then be wrong. So I figured we would look into it and we would fix it after we were sure.
Again, I'll be in bed by 9:30, just FYI.
Big New Year's Eve party, huh?
Big time, yeah.
Your party Saturday was quite fun.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't had a chance to talk about it because you were out yesterday, but we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves.
Well, that's good.
Thanks for hosting us.
Thanks for coming over and straightening all my pictures.
Well, somebody had to do it, and I'm the guy for that job. Okay, now to our top talker at 5:30. It's the way we led our show. 8 Browns players now in the NFL's reserve COVID-19 list. This includes Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper, and other big names.
Well, Jimmy Donovan joins us once again. Obviously, with the game coming up on Saturday, this becomes kind of a big deal.
Boy, it's a really big deal, and it's at the worst possible time, and it's the worst time to have a Saturday game. And if they had a Sunday game, maybe an outside chance that some of these guys would be able to get back. But with it being a Saturday game, that squeezes it down into a tight window, and a window I don't think that they can get through. So they got the news today that they had all of those players test positive for COVID-19, and they immediately go into protocols, and the Browns immediately went under wraps. All of their meetings went virtual and by Zoom, and they're having a walkthrough tonight to try and sort this thing through. And how are they going to beat the Raiders coming up on Saturday afternoon at First Energy Stadium? Jarvis Landry is out. Landry's had a tough year. He had that knee injury in the home opener, tried to come back. He's had a spotty year with the offense, and now he gets hit with COVID-19 at a critical time. It looks like he won't be available on Saturday. So too Austin Hooper. And remember, the Browns got hit at tight end last week. David Njoku is in the COVID-19 protocols, and Harrison Bryant had a high ankle sprain. He may be back this week, but Hooper really had a great game last Sunday against Baltimore. That won't happen this Saturday afternoon. Here's the real big problem. The Browns' offensive line got decimated today. Left tackle Jed Wills, Wyatt Teller, the starting right guard, Drew Forbes, who's coming back from injury, they all go in COVID-19 protocol. Remember, this was the way the Browns lived all year long last year, and they did make it to the playoffs. But remember, just before the end of the regular season, they got wiped out at wide receiver in a game that they played against the Jets, and then had to win that Steeler game to get into the playoffs. So Kevin Stefanski knows the drill.
Through last season, have seen it this year. Guys step up. And that's what the NFL is about. You're without guys due to injury or otherwise, and guys step up. And that's why we have a bunch of players in this team that we trust.
All right, so the Browns are going to have to put Blake Hance probably at left tackle. They're going to take Michael Dunn, who's a guard. They'll put him at right guard. He played left guard last year when Joel Bitonio missed the playoff game. And they're already playing with a rookie at right tackle because Jack Conklin is out with that knee injury, the patella tendon. And so they'll play James Hudson, who played pretty well last week. He'll go at right tackle. Not the way you want to go into a must-win game, albeit against the Raiders, who themselves have a lot of problems. But these are a lot of problems right here.
I'm wondering about Kareem Hunt. We saw him injure his ankle against the Ravens. I would think it would be unlikely to see him Saturday. He is out as well. So you're talking about an offense probably minus 6 starters.
Yeah, probably. You're right. Yeah. So, I mean, and for Baker Mayfield, you know, to have your offensive line,
that's terrifying to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh.
If you talk about sleepless.
He's not 100%.
Like the bodyguards for the quarterback.
Right. I mean, that's going to be a busy day for him back there to get rid of the ball quickly, and they'll lean on that running game. The thing they have going for them, they're at home. That's going to help. Last year when they were in this situation, they were on the road against the Jets. On the sunny side of the street, if they get some of the other players back, if they can squeeze this game out and win it, by Sunday night, they should be in first place in the AFC North because Baltimore has to play Green Bay, and we don't know if Lamar Jackson's going to be able to play in that game. Green Bay's going to play hard because they're the #1 seed in the NFC. That could be, you know, the light bright out, you know, at the end of the tunnel here if they can win the game Saturday.
Quickly, I know you're dramatically undersized for that position, but could you play offensive line if it came to that?
I mean, first of all, I'm very proud that you said I'm
quick, though.
I'm very happy that you said I'm dramatically outsized for that.
Well, I mean, come on, these guys are 300 pounds.
I mean, all I've been doing is a shake in the morning, a shake in the afternoon, and a sensible meal at night.
You know, it's working. It's working, Jimmy.
Well, three days and a little under 23 hours from right now, we'll know who's on that field.
And hopefully it's them.
And hopefully everybody is going to be healthy enough to do it.
We need you in the press box.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Jimmy.
You got it.
We'll see you at 6. Well, everybody, it is Tech Tuesday. We have all the new details on the modern-day Game Boy. That's right, it's back. And the best streaming services that are worth your money.
Then another big name is coming to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Stephanie Haney is going to tell us who's heading to Cleveland and when. That's coming up in Clicking in Cleveland. But first, Matt has got your weather in a jiffy. Yesterday's was great. We have the bar set very high today.
Yeah, today's is awful. So we can just go to weather if we want, or commercial break. No, you know, a lot of kids looking outside the window saying, you know, hey, where's the snow? They look outside, they see this. This has been our ground across Northeast Ohio. How long does this last? We're going to take a deep dive into snow cover around the U.S. and what chances for a white Christmas coming up.
Matt, you never let us down.
I will someday.
All right, it is time now to show off your holiday lights displays. I love doing this. Today's comes from Dan Ketchum. He lives in Lorraine. He's got just about everything that you'd want here, from inflatables, so be careful for the bear, to lights, and of course a really cool nativity scene. A bear would have a field day in this thing.
Was that a dragon?
I don't know if that's a Christmas dragon. I know he's got a lot of visitors at his house.
Look
Dan
at
does.
that.
Dan's a popular guy, apparently. Thanks so much for sharing it. And if you've got cool lights and you want to see them on What's New, then you go to our app. It's the WKYC app. Click on that Near Me feature, and you can upload pictures or videos, and then we can talk about all the visitors that you have or don't have at your house when we show it.
I just always appreciate all the people who take so much time to set up these incredible displays in their yards, because I don't have to.
Right.
We have people on our street who are like all in, and my girls are like, Mom, look how cool that is. I'm like, yes. Look how cool it is.
Nice. Hey,
Mommy doesn't have to clean that up.
I think the dragons, when you have everything else, you end up getting a dragon, you know? And so it's good to see the dragon. You can tell they've got everything there for sure. But Betsy, I agree with you. It's nice to look at Christmas lights, isn't it? And then watch them take it down, you know, when it's like 10 degrees outside in the middle of January. But boy, it is looking festive. I feel like people decorated more this year than even last year. I know last year everyone started early and kept them up late, but looking good, Northeast Ohio. All right, let's talk about snow, right? A lot of people wondering, up until about Christmas, you know, where is the snow? And then after that, you're like, where's the warmth? All right, 4.4 inches so far in Cleveland. We're below average. You could probably assume that, the way things have gone. Akron, just a little bit below average. Then Erie, always like to watch due to the lake effect, right? They average 18 inches by now. They've had 6. So, yeah, we've had a pretty slow start to the snowy season around here. Where is the snow? Well, it's off towards the north. They've gotten some good snow. UP of Michigan, up towards areas of northern Wisconsin. You notice out west, the Rockies, the Sierra Nevadas, Cascades are covered. We're at 22.7% of the lower 48 covered in snow right now. That's actually the least amount on this date since 2014. So a little behind. This isn't going to help. This is your above average temperature range as we go over not just today, but over much of the week. Look at this. We're talking 20 to 30 degrees above average with this huge ridge across eastern half of the country. Good news is we'll start to break it down. If you're hoping for that snow, we need cold air to be in place. And we're going to start to flirt with it next week. But boy, it's not looking as mild as this week, but still patterns not quite flipping yet. All right, tonight we've got increasing clouds. We're back into the 40s. A mild night, comparatively speaking. We've been in the 20s the last 2 nights. You notice clouds thickening up, smattering of showers back towards Illinois. That will push in here tomorrow. Bigger system out west, though. This is the big one that's going to cause a little pressure difference out in the plain states. The jet stream taking a dive, and this pressure difference between the high and the low are going to really ramp up this storm system as this low deepens. Lots of wind with this system in the plain states. High wind warnings for miles as you get out in the northern and central plains. So in terms of your National Zymark big picture look, here's our smattering of showers tomorrow. Not really anything organized. As the low pressure deepens, it'll head off towards the north and west of us. That'll keep us on the warmer side of things. It'll also keep us on the windy side of things. And you notice as we get into Thursday, we will have some rainfall chances. Severe weather will be likely ongoing up in Minnesota. And then next week, we bring in another system on into the weekend. Maybe a little snow on the backside of that, but nothing that's going to keep us white through Christmas. Everything stays north of here for now. West Coast gets a lot, so we'll see if we can flip that pattern just in time for the holiday. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast. We're down to the 40s this weekend. Browns game will be interesting. Rain changing to a rain mix later on, and then we clear out to start next week. Jay.
All right, Matt, thank you very much. In today's Tech Tuesday report, we are talking about the best streaming services available and what's old is new again.
Yeah, let's start with that. Most of you remember the very popular Game Boy. They became pop culture icons in the 90s. My dad even had one.
Yeah, we all did.
We now have a modern day version of it, and it's called the Analog Pocket. I'm very underwhelmed by the title of this one. A CNET reviewer called it the new and refreshed Magical Game Boy. Why would they not just call it the new and refreshed Magical Game Boy and beyond retro cartridge that you will want to play for a really long time? It has color screen, enough buttons to work with the Game Boy Advance games, also has adapters that work with Atari Lynx and Game Gear game cartridges. I'm sure you all understand that if you're a gamer. Otherwise, gamers can buy a dock to connect the game to their TV. And in a world of Wi-Fi, this one doesn't even have it. It is an offline device.
Yeah, that was the one characteristic of this that really took me by surprise. Because I mean, everything is Wi-Fi compatible today. But I kind of liked it. I kind of liked it because the throwback of the version, the original version in the 90s, I thought I was going to have my thumbs amputated at one point in my life because of that device. I mean, most men that I knew had one.
Right.
Regardless of age. They were fun. You could take them anywhere.
Anywhere.
And now you can pretty much use your phone for all of that. But I think it's pretty cool.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Why my dad had one.
Wait, so Tim was like...
He was all in on the Game Boy for a while.
I like that.
We would hear him in there, cursing at it and whatnot. It was super fun, but more entertaining for us, really, than
I bet. Okay, just about every major network and media company, as you know, has launched a streaming service. There's so many of them out there. So which ones are worth your money? CNET did this all a big service, and they broke it down, and they did it by category. Here's what they found. Netflix gets the award for the best streaming service overall. I don't think that's a major surprise. Hulu gets the title of the best value for your money. HBO Max has the best mix of old and new content. Prime Video has the best value bundle with other services. And Disney Plus takes the cake for best for kids and for kids at heart. I'm not a huge streamer. I think I would do a lot more of it, Betsy, if there was a place that I could go and bundle 5 streaming services and do it all with one payment and be done with it. And I'm really kind of surprised. I know that there are certain companies that have teamed up with others,
right,
but I'm really surprised yet that they haven't sort of figured out that if you could, say, discount every one of them by 20% and do a 5 bundle package for one neat, nice price, I'm surprised we haven't seen that yet.
So the interesting thing is this probably was a conversation that took place 40 years ago with the advent of that thing called cable.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember?
Right.
Cable.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that drop cable to go to the streaming services, and now everybody's like, gosh, I wish we could just bundle these streaming services together.
And go back to cable again.
And that'd be cable.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, originally everybody was dropping cable because they thought streaming was cheaper.
Right.
But if you've done that, you probably know you're paying more for it now than you were before because you're paying 8 different companies.
That's your Wi-Fi
for the content.
plus your streaming. So.
It's not cheaper, folks, trust me. Now, I do know that companies like Disney that have a lot of products under their umbrella, they bundle all of their services.
Yes.
Disney Plus, you can get the whole shooting match, ESPN, all of their live content. But I want to see cross-pollination where I can go and get Paramount and Peacock and all of the different services, or at least pick 5 that I want and have them all at once.
Well, we'll see what happens in the future.
But you're right.
Like Netflix and Amazon are like,
oh yeah, they want all of their money to themselves.
All right, next for us, the Browns' current state has a lot of people talking. Stephanie has a lot about what you're saying. Plus, she has the Guardians' spring training schedule too.
If we have baseball.
Well, there's that.
Then one woman who barely escaped the tornado in Kentucky thought she lost a very important part of her family until a neighbor reunited them. We have this story. It's our Show Us Something Good, and it's minutes away.
Hello. What's clicking in Cleveland today is some optimistic sports news and some not very optimistic sports news. Can you raise my camera, please? I'm getting edged out by these poinsettias. Definitely not. We're like touching. I mean, it's fine, but it is. I'm on the X, yeah.
All right, time now to see what's clicking in Cleveland. For that, we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Stephanie, good Tuesday evening to you.
Good Tuesday evening to you, Jay. And as you were saying, we are starting with optimistic sports news because the Cleveland Guardians spring training tickets go on sale on Saturday at noon. Now, I say optimistic, of course, because Major League Baseball is in a lockout right now. But if things get all sorted out, the Guardians will open up the Cactus League against the Cincinnati Reds on February 26th at Goodyear Ballpark in Arizona. We have the link to get your tickets on WKYC.com. In less optimistic sports news, Cleveland Browns fans are reacting to 8 players being placed on the COVID list today. Now, people are pointing out that it is a lot of offensive players, and it really seems like one thing after another this season for this team, and fans are feeling like the odds are always stacked against the Browns. But there is a COVID outbreak across the NFL right now, with 62 players testing positive in the last 2 days and a record for the most players yesterday. Now, of course, 8 on a single team is a lot, but some fans are hopeful, wishing the players get well soon and that they can play on Saturday. And we will end on this positive note. We had all those COVID positives last year when we beat the Steelers to make the playoffs, so let's see what happens. And here is a prime example of what's old being new again. New Edition is bringing the Culture Tour to Cleveland. They're stopping in 30 cities. And all 6 veterans of the group will be here at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse on March 4th. They'll be joined by legendary singer Charlie Wilson and special guest Jodeci. Those tickets go on sale on Friday. That starts at 10 a.m. Now, their first album, Jay and Betsy, dropped in 1983. They have had 6 albums, and for me, it's the 1996 Home Again album, and I am here for them coming here. They've not toured since 2014, so this will be a good one.
So 83 was the year I graduated, and I'm telling you, they were huge that year. They were big. And I've got to find a ticket to that show, too, because I'm a big fan. Think they're great performers.
Your social calendar is just stacking up.
I know. What's a fella to do?
How are you going to have time to do that while you're straightening all my pictures?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to happen. I'll find time, though.
We have people that have a lot of projects for you.
I know.
We're hearing from people who need you.
Someone hit me up on Facebook yesterday and said, I just bought a new storm door. Can you put that in? Just let you know, I don't do storm door.
I was going to say, I'll go buy some if you can, because that might be worth it.
Sorry, I don't have that in my skill set.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Okay, still ahead, among the disaster in Kentucky, there is some good news to share. Wait until you hear who this woman was reunited with after the storms there.
Then on What Matters Most at 6, Stepping Up. We'll show you how Ohioans are lending a helping hand and arm in arm with Kentuckians after those devastating tornadoes.
Al, how are you? Long time no see. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Good evening and thanks for being with us.
We'll see. We'll see. Hey, mic check 1, 2, 3. Thanks so much.
It's overrated.
I would agree. Tonight, 8 players from the Cleveland Browns are out with COVID, including some key offensive starters.
Continue, more than 100 still missing attendance.
Hello, gotcha. This is coming. Yeah. Hello, mic check 1, 2, 3. I'll head over to the ring.
Cities, rescue plan.
Hi, how are you, honey? Good. Good to hear you.
A live picture of the United States House Chamber.
On a test 1, 2, 1, 2.
The vote will begin in holding former Trump Chief of Staff Mark Meadows in contempt of Congress. He refused to cooperate with the House committee investigating the January 6th insurrection of the Capitol. Originally to testify, and the vote is expected shortly.
Well, as you've seen, the images out of Kentucky following this weekend's tornadoes are devastating. But we actually found a happy story to share with you. Deanna Badillo crawled through a hole after the storm. That hole was in what was left of her home. But she didn't lose everything. She thought one of her dogs had died in the storm until her neighbor found it. Well, the neighbor kept it warm and fed until he could reunite them. Look at that.
Wow. We need some good news out of that story. We're out of time. Back tomorrow at 5, and we hope you join us then.
What Matters Most with Russ and Laura starts right now.
Now at 6, on the list, off the field. The Browns place 8 players on the COVID list, including some key starters ahead of Saturday's game. We'll hear from the voice of the Browns, Jim Donovan, about what this means for playoff hopes. Vaccine anniversary. Today marks a major milestone in the pandemic. We'll take a look back at when the very first dose was given here in the U.S., how far we've come, and where we're headed in the fight. Helping recover and rebuild.
There's a lot of need out here, so anything can help.
How Ohioans are helping sort through the rubble in Kentucky after monstrous tornadoes, and how you can help too. Plus, remains identified. The music connection to a decades-old cold case in Twinsburg, one step closer to being solved.
From the WKYC studios, this is What Matters Most.
And good evening. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Russ Mitchell.
And I'm Laura Queso. Tonight, 8 players from the Cleveland Browns are out with COVID, including some key offensive starters.
They are all on the NFL's reserve COVID list, and this comes ahead of a big matchup with the Las Vegas Raiders on Saturday. The voice of the Browns, Jimmy Donovan, is here now to break down what we know and what happens next. What do you think?
Boy, it was such a great day on Sunday afternoon. They beat the Ravens, and you're saying, hey, the playoffs are very, very attainable. And the Browns have done a great job all year long, kind of weaving their way through this COVID-19 season, just like last year. But today, they hit a wall. 8 players test positive for COVID-19 and immediately go into the COVID-19 protocols and on the reserve list. The Browns get hit hard on the offensive side, and it is highly, and I stress highly unlikely, any of these players will be eligible to play in the game Saturday afternoon against Las Vegas. Remember, it's a shortened week. It's not a Sunday game, it's a Saturday game, so they lose time to get those